certainly went off well for Derrick Brown, who gets picked up. He was the first Auburn pick off the board, kind of as we discussed yesterday. We that was kind of the prediction. He'd be the first one off the board. He went to the Carolina Panthers as the number 7 pick, and then you had Noah Igbinoghene, who went number 30 overall to the Dolphins. And so, kind of a surprise there. But we'll start with Derrick Brown. Just your overall thoughts on his number 7 pick to the Panthers.
That's pretty much where everybody expected him to go, just based on team need and overall where he ranked in terms of the players on the big board there. The only other possibility that really got thrown out at all was maybe Detroit at 3 unless a team traded up. But it seemed pretty evident that Detroit was going to go with Jeff Okudah there from Ohio State to kind of bolster their secondary. So getting Derrick there at 7, I was ready for it. It's what I fully expected. Didn't surprise me at all. Didn't seem like it surprised Derrick at all when they showed him. He was all business. Didn't really have much of a reaction when they called his name. But, I mean, that's what we've come to expect from Derrick overall. These 4 years covering him, he just goes about his business, has his mind set on the goal, and now he's there.
Yeah, he's definitely a quiet leader and sort of somebody that you just sort of commands that locker room, but in a very quiet, very even keel way. And I imagine it'll be much of the same there when he's with the Panthers. Now, of course, Noah Igbinoghene taking number 30 overall to the Dolphins. Now, he's just the second defensive back, I guess, in Auburn history to go in that first round. And, somewhat of a surprise. I know that his stock has risen in recent weeks and in the last month or so, but to go in the first round to be the second Auburn player off the board, even ahead of Marlon Davidson, what do you think about that?
Yeah, there were some projections that he might sneak in there at the end of the first round, really depending on team need. But I honestly was surprised that he went, especially to the Dolphins there, number 30. I know the Dolphins traded back from 26 to 30. Thought that they might go with a running back there or another offensive tackle to try to, help that offense a little more. But was surprised when they called Noah's name, especially because they already have a lockdown corner in Xavier Howard there. They just signed a big-time free agent cornerback in Byron Jones. So to add Noah there, it didn't seem like it was a pressing need for them. But Brian Flores is a defensive-minded guy who feels like he can never have enough defensive backs. Mm-hmm. So, they really like the upside.
Hey, who's that little visitor we got there? He doesn't sound little.
That's my dog just barking in the background. Sky, be quiet.
It's okay, puppy. That's what happens when you're at home, right?
Yeah.
Doing this thing. So, for Noah, I think it's interesting too. Obviously, kind of an emotional reaction from Noah, just in how things played out for him. And again, kind of a surprise, someone that stock risen, and he did really take a big gamble, right? Leaving Auburn, just kind of hindsight's 2020, but looking at that, it ended up working out in his favor.
Yeah, there were definitely some people that were kind of questioning, not necessarily questioning why he left, but didn't think that he would be a day one guy. Thought he would maybe be, back end of day 2 or, 4th, 5th round guy possibly came out. But, like you said, he gambled on himself and he doubled down big time and cashed in. I mean, he's always exuded confidence. I guess that's just the way he was raised. Obviously, both of his parents are former Olympic track athletes. So he's had the mindset and the work ethic to get done what he needs to get done to achieve his goals. And for him to have the confidence in himself to declare after playing defensive back for just 2 years, and then impress teams so much with his upside, his athleticism. I mean, he ran a 4.4840 at the combine. He's got a 40-inch vertical. He's just, an athletic freak, really. So for him to have that confidence and then impress teams both with his upside, his ability, and what he brings on special teams as a kick returner, he just nailed it. And then, that bet on himself paid off big time. Like you said, he's only the second Auburn defensive back to get selected in the first round.
Yeah, and, talking to Deshaun Davis, we had done those NFL draft profiles, and one of the biggest things he pointed to, just like you said, somebody that works hard, exudes tremendous confidence, and it obviously shows by him kind of taking that gamble, but just in sort of how he's been able to make that transition to that position in just 2 years. And really, I think the ceiling is high for him, and that's something that Deshaun and I talked about, just his abilities, and somewhat of a surprise that he goes first, but now that he's there, I think that he's going to take it and run with it and make the most of it, by all means. And with that being said, so where do you think the biggest surprise came in? I know we talked about it just briefly there. Marlon Davidson, you might have thought that he would have been somebody that would have gone in that first round. So I think that's obviously a big surprise. What did you make of that?
I wouldn't say so much I was surprised that he wasn't taken. I thought he had a chance to get taken, but I think he'll certainly, he won't be waiting around long today. I
Right.
think he'll go. I think he's going to be a second round guy. Definitely one of the best players remaining on the board. Um, but yeah, I was a little bit surprised to not see more defensive ends taken in that first round, because I thought
Mhm.
that if there was going to be a little run on them, especially toward the later end of the round, that Marlon would have had a chance to hear his name called. But like I said, he's not going to have to wait around long today.
And there was no running back taken off the board in the first round. Is that right? I'm
What's
pretty
that?
sure it was no running back. So I thought that was kind of surprising to me that, offensively you didn't see sort of that.
Well, the Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire there at the very end.
Oh, that's right. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So
but
basically waiting till the very end like that, I thought that was a big surprise for me.
yeah, and I think we'll see a run on running backs today. I mean, you'll get the guys that you have there. You have J.K. Dobbins, you have Jonathan Taylor, you have DeAndre Swift, all of them still available. So I think we'll see some of those get taken pretty quickly here in the second round today.
And any other expectations for Auburn guys here in the next, the next two rounds that we're going to see tonight?
I think the other one we'll definitely see drafted today is Prince Tega. I know we talked about him a little bit yesterday. Obviously, multi-year starter at offensive tackle. Another guy that has a lot of upside because he's only been playing the position for a few years, but just physically imposing. Has the skill set that teams want. It might take a year or two to get him up to the level that you want him to be at, but he's a guy that he's gonna. I firmly believe he's going to be a day two guy. One other outside possibility, Jack Driscoll. I think he's more of a fourth round type guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see him, at the late end of the day two here. Again, another guy that's started for multiple years, both at UMass and Auburn, and can play in multiple positions. Tested really well at the combine, so he's just one of those guys that teams are going to want to fill out their roster because they can only carry so many offensive linemen.
No doubt. Great insight there from you, Tom, as always. And let's pop up this picture here. Derrick Brown with the Panthers hat on to close things out. It's certainly a joyous moment. I feel for these kids. Obviously, this didn't go down as maybe they had hoped or anticipated, but my heart always just is so happy because you see these guys finally live out their dreams. And for Derrick Brown, somebody that comes from a military family, and he said, "I'm coming back. I'm going to finish out my career at Auburn. It's important to me." I mean, you just can't say enough about his character in doing so.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something that Carolina coach Matt Ruley pointed to last night when he was talking about Derrick Brown. I believe he said one of the first things he did yesterday morning before the draft is he went back and he watched that Outback Bowl tape. Not that Derrick Brown was that impressive in the game, but he was trying hard. Like he was playing, full speed through the whole thing, and he's a guy who really didn't have to play, and that just rang. It just said so much about Derrick Brown, the player, to Matt Ruley that that really swayed their decision.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, we appreciate it as always, Tom. Of course, you can check out all of Tom's coverage for Auburn on our website at AL.com. Of course, all of our social channels as well on Twitter and Facebook. So check all that out. Of course, Tom Green and Gianna will both be covering the Auburn beat as we continue through the NFL draft. Thanks so much for joining us again, Tom.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.